So this happened on the way to work yesterday. Something that's never exactly fun to find. Yep. We get all the way back to the woods and hiss, hiss, hiss. We're losing air. The tire has gone down. Now, you would think changing the tire on one of these big beasts here would be quite a process, but it's actually not that bad if you know what to do and how to handle it. Of course, the first thing that we done is we got the chains off of this tire. Chains is a necessity here in the woods, working in the woods, or even working around the farm here on the Miramichi. We're up on a side hill, and if you don't have chains on, you don't go anywhere in the winter time. So the first thing we done was get the chains off. And then we get it jacked up because these tires are loaded. If you're not familiar with that term, each of these tires has 40 gallons of calcium, liquid calcium mix in the tires, and that just helps to improve the traction. And so we had to get the pressure off the tire and get the nail up to the top so that we wouldn't lose all our calcium out. One of the nasty things about calcium is that everything it touches, it rusts. And there's new stuff they use now called agri-lime, which is better, but a lot more money. So we got the tire jacked up, or got the tractor jacked up, so we got the pressure off the tire. Now, changing one of these tires, getting it to a dealer, because the dealer charges about $1,500 to drive out here with a service truck to do anything to a tire. Changing one of these tires involves using your head a little bit. You see the center of that tire, where all those studs goes in, that center is a cast iron weight that is 450 pounds in itself. And this tire, that's a 16934, that tire with the 40 gallons of calcium in it, the weight of the tire, the weight of the rim, those tires are about 1,500 pounds a piece. So not something that you just grab and wrestle around and throw on the back of a truck like you would a car tire. So what we do, you can see we've got some bolts out here. We got one still holding there. We got one holding on the bottom. We got the two out there. By taking those bolts out, we just take the outside part of the tire and we leave that nice big heavy cast iron rim right there in the middle. One time I had, back when the service truck would still come out here and work on tires without charging an arm and leg, there was a young guy come out here with a service truck, and he jumped out and threw an impact gun on them center wheel studs there and starts to pull it out. And I said, hold her buddy, hold her. And he didn't quite realize how much weight he was dealing with. If he had got that tire pulled off and got the wheel studs unbolted, he'd have had quite a bit of weight down on himself. But so what we're going to do here, we're going to continue and get the rest of those other two bolts out of there, and then we're just going to work this out. We're going to roll it up the side of the tractor real careful. We're going to block those front tires up, lock the brakes on the tractor, and we're going to use the loader to set that tire up onto the truck and head off to the shop for a new tube. Now I would have liked to have put a new tire on there, because in the past year we put two front tires on and we replaced that back tire over there, but unfortunately, thanks to COVID and all that funny stuff that's going on in the world, there's no tires anywhere. Of all the shops that I've tried on the East Coast here, nobody has a tire the size of this. So we're going to pull this one off, take it into the shop, get it broke down, get the calcium pumped out, and get a tube in, a blowout patch on the inside of that hole, and hopefully by tomorrow we'll be back in business, because we got a nor'easter blowing in and we're supposed to get 8 to 10 inches of snow tonight, or later in the day and overnight. So we need a tractor to plow snow with. Okay, so we're back from the shop, $680 later, because they filled the tire with Agri-Lime instead of putting the calcium back in. We did manage to get a tube. Thanks to COVID, we can't get a replacement tire right now, but a tube that holds air is better than a tube that doesn't hold air. So now, the next line of business here is to get everything lined up here again, which is always a little bit of fun. Helps to have a drift pin or two. Once we can get at least 2 bolts, one top and one bottom, lined up, then it goes back together. I will mention that this process should not be carried out unless you've got 2 or 3 real hefty guys to help you out. This is not a one-man job at all. As a matter of fact, you could get injured quite easily trying to do this by yourself if you're not set up for it. So make sure if you ever have to do it, you got some help around. The hard part is in getting the first 1 or 2 bolts back in. Once you get a couple started, get it lining up, it becomes a lot easier. But this is a lot further ahead than getting the repair company out with a service truck. The last time I was quoted a price to come out and put a tire on, they were somewhere in the range of $2,400 to send a truck from Fredericton to our farm, which is about 15 minutes drive. About $2,400 to come out and put a tire on the tractor. They used to do service calls for in the range of $500 to come out and replace a tube. That is not the case anymore. In the COVID world, and with the increase in prices and fuel and everything else, service companies are they're having to bump their prices up almost every day to accommodate their expenses, the cost of running their trucks and fuel cost and everything else that goes with it. And we, the consumer, are the guys that wind up paying the bill. It's all part of the cycle, I guess. So next thing we're going to do, we've got to get these nuts tightened up here on the back. We'll just snug the first couple up until we can get the rest of the bolts in. Sometimes we have to run the jack up and down here a few times just to get a little play on the tire back and forth. But this is the process to get a new tube into a tractor tire. So maybe this video gives you a little idea of how to do it. Like I say, don't attempt this alone. If you don't have a tractor loader to help you get it up onto a truck, you could, I suppose, rig up a tripod, a wooden tripod, with a set of chain falls, a chain hoist, and get the tire lifted up that way to get it onto a truck or whatever. But of course, not everybody runs tractors this size. This one's an 85 horsepower, so these are pretty big tractors. They're pretty big tires to have to handle. So hopefully you got a little bit of use out of this video, and might help to save you a few dollars and a little bit of heartache. Take care and stick around for the next one.